Hi everybody, my name is Warren and welcome back to Work with Warren, a place where we are creating a beautiful life through thrift, hustle, and DIY. Earlier in the year, I was helping a friend get set up at their new place and they requested my help bringing this old desk out to the curb to go to the trash. I saw potential in it, I thought that it had good bones and could easily become a coffee table, and even though I've never personally had good luck selling coffee tables secondhand, I would much rather see it have a second life than be sent to the trash. So that is exactly what we're doing in today's video, so let's get into that right now. This is what the desk is looking like right now. As you can see, there's a lot of damage going on the top and on the legs too. And my plan is to sand this down, but to keep some of that character in it because I want it to have kind of a rustic look. So I am sanding this, I'm sanding it with the legs on because it's easy enough to chop the legs down later to a point that I've already sanded past. And if I chop the legs off first, then I have to be sanding around the chop line, and I didn't feel like getting down on the ground to do all this sanding. So this just made the most sense to me. And for some reason, I'm pretty sure that my camera battery died because you can't see me sanding the legs of this, but just believe that I did, and it was so much fun. You guys are totally missing out. Okay, this is what it's looking like once it's sanded down to the area that I like, much cleaner, and then I took a little piece of sandpaper and manually sanded into all the little nooks and crannies there. Once everything was sanded down, I took a microfiber cloth and put it in some clean water and wiped away all the dust that was remaining. Okay, so I just finished sanding. I did 80 and then 120. I did 180 on the very top there. I'm pretty sure that the top is actually a different material because it's sanded way easier and got way lighter. I'm pretty sure it's a pine, and I think that the legs are an oak, so maybe that got replaced at some point. Not a big deal. I am going to use this Danish oil, which I've never used before on a project like this. I got it at a wicked discount. It was 90% off at one of the closing sales from the Lowe's here. I'm trying out 2 different colors to see how that works, so I'm going to test those out first and then I'm going to apply it to the rest. So let's go and do that. For the cut lines, I used a ruler to measure out the distance, and I wanted this to sit 18 inches off of the ground. So I measured that out on both sides of the leg. The reason why I didn't just use it once, and use a square to draw the line across is because the legs were slightly tapered. Probably wouldn't have made a difference, but I basically just connected up the 2 measurements on either side with the ruler there. And then I cut with my circular saw here. So as you can see, the blade is going almost all the way through, but not quite all the way through. So I'll actually need to finish up this cut on the other side once I've gone through. And don't worry with this cut here, I'm holding the guard with my thumb. So I am like several inches away from the blade. It's just hard to see here. And once all those cuts were done, I used my mouth sander just to smooth out the bottoms where the 2 cuts met so that everything was nice and even. The Danish oil shades that I was choosing between were dark walnut and briar smoke. This was actually way more of a challenge than I was expecting or prepared for at this time in the project. Here's me trying to open the Danish oil with my bare hands. The Danish oil clearly won against my hands, so I brought in the towel for the assist here, thinking that the friction would help. Yeah, and the Danish oil won that too. So I brought in the vice grips, which did actually work. It's crazy because the mechanism isn't even that big of a deal. It's just like a plastic cap over a metal screw cap, but it was really tightly closed on there. If there's any redemption, I opened up a jar of olives that my husband couldn't open up the other day. I mean, I screamed when I did it to channel the energy of the universe, but we feasted that night. Okay, anyway, back to the video here. So here's me trying out the briar smoke. In retrospect, looking at this, I don't know what I was thinking. Here's the dark walnut. Don't get me wrong, the dark walnut's great, and I'm sure that a lot of people watching this would also have chosen the dark walnut, but the briar smoke was way more my vibe, and for some reason I went with the dark walnut. Still, you'll see the finished product. I liked the finished product. I'm just surprised that I chose that. Here is me propping up 4 legs on 3 paint canisters, so if your OCD doesn't like this, then that's too bad. You can skip to the next part. And I am applying the Danish oil by basically like globbing it all over the top here and then spreading it out with a Dollarama paintbrush. The top, again, being pine, this absorbed like 3 or maybe even 4 coats in certain areas. And the oak on the sides, I did 2 coats, basically put it down and let it absorb for about 15 minutes, and then you can pull it back with a clean cloth. Here's me applying the second coat to the top before I'd even finished going around the body for the legs there.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
Painting table.
Painting the table, yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Professional.
Hopefully. And here's me pulling it back with a clean cloth here. I'm also kind of like buffing it in to the surface, and as you can see, it makes everything look a lot more even. And this was actually, it worked really well. And I have to say, overall, this was probably the most stress-free DIY I've ever done. There was basically no issues that happened that, like pretty much any project that you do with DIY, issues always come up. This one was so straightforward and easy to do. And I easily could have done it in one afternoon had I had the entire day to focus on this. Again, with the camera issues here, I did film, I swear I filmed, removing this knob from the drawer and sanding it down. So really all you're missing is me sanding more things, but you guys can, I'm sure you can piece together what happened there. And here's me applying the Danish oil to the knob here and then reattaching it into the drawer. And while I do have a staging wall in my garage, I thought that this would look way better in the living room, so I moved my current coffee table setup, and of course my little curious dog Santana needed to check out what was going on. And I am by no means a professional coffee table stager, but I just shopped around my house and found things that I thought could look good here just for the photos to post on Facebook Marketplace. So I grabbed some books that I had, this little kind of bar setup, and a few other knickknacks just to fill out the space here. I did also try to vacuum out that indent in the carpet. I don't know how well that worked, but it's never a bad idea to clean up around the area that you are staging. And I took some photos, and both staged and unstaged, and also a video, and I posted those to Facebook Marketplace, and here is the final product. For me, I love this. I just think it turned out well. B, it reminds me of a coffee table that we had in our place growing up, so it has a bit of nostalgia there. But why don't you let me know what you think of it in the comments below. So that is how the coffee table turned out. I absolutely love it, but apparently Facebook Marketplace said otherwise. I initially posted it for $200. I lowered it to $175, then I lowered it to $150, and then down to $100, and I didn't have a single person reach out about it. I did the staging, I did the videos, I did the great description, I did everything that you're supposed to do. So by the time that it got down to $100, I'm like, I would much rather just give this to a friend and not get money for it, because it would make me feel better to just have somebody enjoy it than to get the $100 for it, because at some point it's almost like a slap in the face, if that makes sense. I don't know if you've ever sold furniture or if you've ever like put your heart into something, then you know, but I am glad that it went to a good home and that it gets a second life and everybody's happy. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. There's going to be another one coming up soon, so if you like this, leave a comment, leave a like. If you want to see more, you can feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Work with Warren.